Hi and welcome to Orbit. Every time I want to grab my tablet, the battery is dead. And Google knows about this problem and they want to fix it with the Pixel tablet. Well, I used it, but can I recommend it? That's a different story. The Pixel tablet feels great. The shape, the weight and especially the texture on the back, comparable to a matte thick paper. It is smooth and robust at the same time. It's like you don't even need a case. And I did not have a case, so I did throw it into my backpack without protection for 2 weeks and it was no problem. This thing is built out of aluminium and a nano ceramic coating. Well, this explains why it is so durable. I'm reminded of the Pixel 5 in terms of design, but in a big way. The fingerprint sensor is not only super fast and reliable, it's also slightly recessed, so I never pressed it accidentally and I could always tell it apart from the volume rocker. An unusual design feature are the 2 rubber strips on the bottom. I can think of 2 reasons why they are there. First, so the tablet does not slip away when it is propped up on a table. And second, it sometimes happens, if you're not careful, that the Pixel tablet hits the table briefly when you take it out of the dock. The rubber softens this. And well, let's talk about that dock. Because it is an essential part of this tablet and not only connected to a wall plug permanently, it is also part of the delivery. It is relatively heavy, nicely soft with fabric, and the tablet is held with magnets in position and charged with these 4 contacts. Google wants to solve the biggest problem of tablets. That is, that they are always empty when you need them. But whenever I reach for the Pixel tablet, it is freshly charged. And yes, this works brilliantly. And just in general, I like that I have this one place where my tablet always stays. And also that I don't need to plug it in, I can just throw it on the dock. And that's not all the dock can do. It turns the Pixel tablet into an intelligent display. It shows the time, the weather and pictures if you want. And when you say the magic words, hey, followed by Google, you can ask it all sorts of questions and you can not only hear the answer, you can see it as well. I like using the display to control my smart home devices. It's like a Google Nest Hub, but not exactly like a Google Nest Hub. But first we have to talk about the display because I did not mention it at all and it's time to change that. First of all, it looks great. I like that the green model has a black bezel and the pink and white one have a white bezel. Especially when it's inside of an apartment, I think white looks friendlier. The display is 11-inch and has a resolution of 2560 to 1600, which is a bit more than an iPad. The maximum brightness is 500 nits. The display technology is unfortunately not OLED or mini LED, it's LCD. That means the contrast and black level are nothing spectacular. However, I could have lived with that, even slightly disappointed. However, I was quite disappointed by the refresh rate, because it is not 120 Hz, it's 60 Hz. And for my eyes, which are so used to 120 Hz, this felt super slow and stuttery, and the tablet felt slower than it actually is. It's just a shame, because all the other Google devices have at least 90 Hz. One elementary difference to the iPad is the aspect ratio. Apple uses 4:3, Google 16:10. A wider, narrower display, which is great for videos, but in my experience, worse for surfing the web, writing and reading. But worse does not mean bad, of course. I really enjoyed seeing full websites in Google Chrome and not the mobile version. And watching videos is the thing that I do the most with my tablet anyway. And that's when I noticed the speakers positively. They are clear, they are loud and they are quite spatial. But they do lack some bass in my opinion. And when you dock the Pixel tablet, it immediately switches to the speakers inside of the dock, which are significantly louder and fuller. You can even link all other Google-enabled speakers in your home to the dock, and then the whole place starts to play music when you dock the tablet. And because the Pixel tablet supports Chromecast, you can stream music or videos from any device to the tablet and thus to the dock. I just found it odd that the tablet's own speakers are disabled in the dock, even though the treble is clearly better than the dock. Also weird is that there is a USB stylus support, so digital pens, but Google itself does not offer a pen. Maybe something will come in the future because Android 14 includes some pen functions. Also not yet available is an official keyboard case, and that's pretty bad for productive work. I wrote this entire video on the Pixel tablet in Google Docs and it wasn't fun. It was simply an experiment on my part. The only good thing I can say is that Google has the best speech-to-text in the industry. It's crazy fast and accurate thanks to the built-in processor, Tensor G2. This chip was developed by Google itself and it is used in all current smartphones. The strengths are not shown in a benchmark but in artificial intelligence. And that's why speech-to-text worked so good, or the offline music recognition, or the magic eraser, with which you can easily remove people and objects from pictures. In addition, Tensor and Android are perfectly adapted to each other. The software runs very fast, stable and as smooth as 60 Hz can be. Since Google hasn't had an own tablet for 9 years, the software and the apps were not that well optimized. Some of the apps only work in horizontal mode, but I was pleasantly surprised to see how many apps are actually supported for this tablet. All the big names, of course. And even WhatsApp has an official app that makes good use of the extra space. The big feature is multitasking. You can now open 2 apps side by side and drag files from one to another. To quickly switch between apps, there is a dock that can be used freely. Just like on the iPad, and just like there, it's a good thing. All in all, Google is surprisingly close to iPadOS, but still not on the high level of features. But they do have still some time to catch up. There will be a total of 3 years of software and 5 years of security updates. That may sound okay at first, but the iPad has much longer updates. And when we're speaking of longevity, it's time to talk about the battery life. The battery inside of here is 7000 mAh, but the screen is quite big and Tensor is not the most efficient chip out there. So I was capable of getting 5 to 6 hours of screen on time. Because I was not working productively, that is totally fine for 1 or several days. And every time I reach for that tablet, it is fully charged because of the dock. And this dock only charges up to 90% natively to save the battery, but you can deactivate that in the settings. Charging in the dock is quite slow, with the cable it's twice as fast. Well, tablets are super cringe to take photos with, but a Google Pixel is quite a good camera, so what about the cameras? Interestingly, both the rear and the front camera are the same, with 8 megapixel and a fixed focus, so close-up shots are impossible. But you can scan documents and they work great for video calls. There's even a special feature that tracks the background relatively and it looks like you're in a virtual environment. Conclusion: a tablet that wants to be a tablet and nothing more. A tablet that solves the one big problem all tablets have. That's the Google Pixel tablet. And for 680 euros, it's way too expensive because it's a fancier Nest Hub, it does not have 120 Hz, OLED, a keyboard or a pencil. But in the US, it's only $500. And for that price, I think it's really a good buy because it is a tablet. It's fun to use and I quite enjoyed it. But in euros, in Europe, it's way too expensive for what it is, and the iPad here is cheaper and can do more. And I hope that Google in the future will figure out all the app optimization and they can really show us and give us trust that they take tablets serious again. And only if they do, I can recommend the Pixel tablet. And right now, it's kind of a mixed bag.